Hello there, everyone, and welcome to GamePoints episode 191. Your weekly get-together, we talk about recent gaming news. I'm, as always, your host, Stephen Brown, and joining me today is...
I'm David.
Tonight, David, we get a pretty deep dive into Death Stranding. Final Fantasy VII gets a classic mode, which actually sounds kind of cool. We have yet another round of industry layoffs to go over as well. I want to thank everyone for showing up, by the way. Salty Frank, Ologram, to everyone else who's been lurking. Just so you all know that this is an audience interactive podcast. So if you're watching here live at Twitch TV every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, much like everyone here in chat is doing, or later over at youtube.com/GamePointsPC. Feel free to join in the conversation with questions, comments, concerns, and all that good stuff. Now, David?
Yeah.
I know I got the starter in the notes here, but there's one thing I want to mention before then, and we have to actually get our serious pants on this one. It's one of those things I want to get out of the way quick because it is really a fucked up story. Or rather, it is an update to a fucked up story that we reported on about a year to 2 years ago. So,
Okay.
Do you remember...
We have lots of those.
Do you remember that incident where two people were playing Call of Duty and they got...
Swatter kid.
Yeah, the Swatter kid.
Yes.
So for a background update on what happened there, a couple years ago...
Isn't that kid in jail?
Well, let me base the story appropriately here.
Okay.
Two people were playing Call of Duty. They got into a bitch fight about it. One kid said, "I'm going to fucking SWAT you." And the other guy was like, "Yeah, here's my address. Come bring it." The guy that gave the address gave a fake address. So the kid on the other Call of Duty contacts a friend of his who then swats the address, resulting in the death of someone that wasn't even involved in any of this. Now, the guy that commenced the swatting earlier this year got like 20 years in prison.
Yes.
Because there was like 51 other charges tacked onto the swatting because he was doing all kinds of shit. And they found out about all of it when they investigated him.
He was a huge asshole.
Yeah, he's doing big boy time. He's doing like 20 years in jail.
Yep.
Today, and I just found out about this, the guy who contacted him to do the swatting was also sentenced to 15 months in jail.
Oh. Okay. Well, that's better than nothing.
Yeah. He didn't actually do the swatting himself, but he did kind of contract out to his friend, which started off the chain of events that ended to someone who had no idea what was going on with having the police come in.
It's still like a conspiracy to commit a crime. So, yeah. Fuck that guy.
He was charged with conspiracy and obstruction of justice.
Yeah.
And he got 15 months,
Did the other guy get involuntary manslaughter? Was that one of his charges?
I don't know what his charges were. I know they totaled up to be 20 years behind bars, though.
Yeah.
I don't have like a full docket of everything that he did, but it was a bunch of stuff because he didn't just like SWAT this one guy. He swatted, I think.
Oh, he also would like call in bomb threats.
Yeah,
he did all
kinds.
He was a shitty internet person, and he is in jail because of it.
Yes.
Because it turns out you should not be an asshole.
Don't be assholes online. Did the guy who gave the wrong address get charged with anything? No, Salty Frank. He did not get charged with anything, nor should he, because he didn't.
He was literally just a guy that said, "Fuck you," and the guy's like, "I'm gonna SWAT you," and he's like, "Yeah, whatever, prove it. Here's an address."
Yeah, here's 123 Fake Street.
Basically.
So the guy who gave the wrong address, because he wasn't involved in anything that was going on, other than just giving out a random address that happened to actually be inhabited by someone.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I mean, it really sucks, and that guy probably feels bad.
Yeah.
But
he
didn't actually break any laws.
And I don't think he actually did anything wrong either.
No.
But I wanted to go ahead and mention that out the gate, because that is a story that we have been checking in on for about 18, 19 months now or so. I think it happened.
I think our last update was sometime in January or March.
That would have been when January
when the other guy got
sentenced.
Yeah.
And this seems to wrap up this entire saga finally at this point, unless somehow one of these guys gets off on appeal or something happens to them, whatever that may be. Yes, Orlo, that's really sad because some people are ready to call a SWAT because they lost that video game. It's fucked up is what it is.
Yeah.
And the judge did straight up say to the kid that was sentenced today, he's like, "Listen, you seem legitimately regretful for what's going on, but we don't just sentence out jail time for what people intended to do. We also sentence out for what actually happened. And he said, because normally there would be no actual jail time associated with this, believe it or not, for what he was facing. But because it resulted in the death of someone, the judge was like, we actually need to send a message out saying this is not fucking acceptable. And it's not.
Yeah, and the kid's like mid-20s.
I believe the kid that was sentenced today was 19.
Oh, okay. The other kid was like a couple years older, like 21, 22, something like that.
Yeah. I know the kid that was sentenced today, though, the one that actually, I don't want to say contracted because that includes a payment. I think he just contacted his friend and said, hey, do this.
Yeah.
He is going to jail for 15 months, and when he gets out, he can't play games for like 2 years or something like that.
Yep.
So, yeah, no. 15 years in jail is not something to sneeze at, by the way. It's not like years and years and years, but if you're a 19-year-old kid who's never had any encounter with the law before, your life is going to change dramatically.
Oh, yeah. Man, the guy that got 20 years, he's fucked.
Yeah, and it's not like that shit goes away either. So you get hired on somewhere, they do a background check, they go, what did you go to jail for? And he's got to be like, conspiracy and manslaughter.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Although I feel like the other guy, the guy that actually did the swatting, should get zero cooled out of that whole thing. Like he gets out of prison.
Can't
and he's
touch
not
like even a phone for like 20 years.
No electronic devices for an extended period of time.
That might be what it is. He's currently serving 20 years, but they might make some kind of like paroles. He gets out like in 10, but has to promise not to touch a single anything ever.
Yep.
Which will literally destroy your life in a digital age. But hey, they fucking conspired to kill a guy, essentially.
Yep.
By proxy through their actions, ended up getting some innocent guy killed. But I just want to get that out of the way because we tend to get kind of silly and rambunctious, but this was a quick update on something and it was super serious, so I wanted to just address that out the gate. Now, we get back to normal gaming shenanigans. I'm going to talk about how I've been playing Borderlands 3 rather extensively over the past weekend.
Oh, is that what you've been doing?
I have been. I'm not going to get too deep into it. I just want to say what my big bugaboo about it is. So the gameplay is fine. If you like the Borderlands gameplay, this is it refined even more. So the game is
more
fun
Borderlands
to play. But since I've started it, I've had this problem with the game, and I wasn't able to really put my finger on it until last night. And that's the fact that in Borderlands 2 and a little bit in 1, I was actually invested in what was going on. I was like, okay, this is well written. Handsome Jack's one of the greatest villains of all times. I actually care about watching what happens to the Vault Hunters. But on this one, I find myself just turning on background music and podcasts because I just don't give two goddams about any of the people in this game.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there are two reasons for it. One, Borderlands 3 feels like an attempt to cram every single character that was ever mentioned to the game in the series into this one game. So as such, since there are so many of them, everyone gets like a very rushed intro, and then you don't hear from them again.
So it's you're playing Borderlands Endgame.
Kind of, yeah. So there's no like real connection for anyone. It's like, okay, here they are, and then they're gone. 2, we live in a post-parody society. And yes, we live in a society. Insert Joker Friends meme here. But what I mean by that is the characters in Borderlands, like the main villains, for example, are 2 sociopathic YouTube stars, for the most part, in the Borderlands universe. The thing is, we already have sociopathic YouTube stars. There's nothing new here. It feels old hat because every parody archetype they're trying to do can't be topped compared to what reality actually is.
Okay. So it's still the original like Borderlands, and it has that level of slapstickery and shock value.
Yes.
But it doesn't really work as much because it's been 9 years since Borderlands 1?
What they're trying to parody, like the characters they have on there, just take away the murderous impulses, and you already see these people every fucking day online. There's nothing like, oh, they're doing a parody of Logan Paul or Jake Paul or whatever YouTube star is or PewDiePie. It's like, no, they're just as annoying as some of these people. Only they also kill people. So it's like I said, it's a post-parody society at this point. You can't mock people for their extremes because we're all fucking extreme now. We take everything to 110 because if we don't, then we don't get the likes and the followers and the clicks.
I also hear that the game doesn't perform very well, and that if you're playing it on PC, like the unlocked version doesn't work as well.
I cannot attest to that because I have been having an excellent time with the performance of it. I have not had any
your computer
problems.
is also a monster. I feel like if I was playing it, it'd be a different story.
Yeah, I mean, I can do the streaming and the showing of the game on one PC. So
yeah, that
should tell you something right there.
Not Borderlands related. I've been playing a shit ton of Daemon X Machina because I'm a robot whore.
How's that going for you?
It is not made by the people that made Armored Core, and every minute of that game that I play, I wish I was playing an Armored Core game.
I understand how that goes.
It has just enough likeness to it that I'm constantly thinking about Armored Core and like the old FromSoft series, but it's got just enough that's doing it different or doing it wrong, in my opinion, that I kind of wish I just had like remastered versions of the first 3 PlayStation games on my Switch instead.
Okay, fair enough.
The areas that you fight in are very small, at least so far. The missions have been very, very small. There's not a whole lot of stuff. The story is convoluted, and there's cutscenes that have no... It's like I'm playing Drakengard, but so far there's no resolution. It's just weird and strange.
Are you having a fun time with it, though? And I know fun is nebulous because some people find horrible games fun. Like, for example, me with
gameplay is great. I'm not in the gameplay enough.
Okay,
so far
fair enough.
The missions are actually too short. When I'm in a mission, I think the game's fun and it plays well because it plays like an Armored Core game. I can customize my mech, customize my weapons. Looks like there's actually a bit more involved process to that than I would get from a core game. But every mission I've done is like 4 minutes, 7 minutes. Like, it's just not chunky enough. It's
by the
perfect for
time you
Switch.
get your rhythm going, the mission is ending.
Yeah, basically. But I haven't fought any super giant bosses or anything yet, so I feel like it will get better. We'll see.
Okay. One final thing that I have been playing, by the way, I want to mention real quick, is that Greedfall game. That's a surprisingly goddamn good game.
Fantasy RPG from...
Spiders.
I was going to say snakes.
I can actively recommend Greedfall if you have been okay with what Spiders has done in the past. So definitely take a look at that as well. There's a lot of jank, but once again, if you have played other Spiders games, you know what you're getting into. David?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and kick things off the show with the news of the week.
All right.
Tokyo Game Show happened over the past couple days. Now, if you don't know, Tokyo Game Show is a massive trade show that happens in, well, Tokyo. And I think it was in the suburb of Tokyo this year, so not technically Tokyo, but we're splitting hairs here at this point. And, of course, a whole bunch of stuff gets shown off. It's not really a place for, like, ground-shaking announcements, but there is information that comes from this, mainly extra footage from games that we're going to be talking around here. First off is a whole buttload of Death Stranding information was dropped.
Yes.
Including a 50-ish minute gameplay segment.
Yep.
Now, David, did you see any of this at all?
I saw clips of it, but since the whole thing is Japanese, I didn't bother to watch it because it doesn't do anything for me to watch something in a different language without any kind of subtitles.
Real quick, by the way, we're going to be talking about things that we saw in that 50-minute clip and some information from GameStop as well. So if you want sources, links will be provided down below. What did you think of what you saw already? Because I have my thoughts on it. That I want to kind of break down some things that I saw that I was like, okay, that's cool. But I want to know what you're thinking. I will start this with saying, though, I now have an idea of what the basic gameplay loop to this game is going to be, which is something that I did not have for years.
I don't know how to talk about this because it's upsetting. I don't think I want to play it.
Why don't you want to play it?
Why
is it upsetting you?
Let's preface it this way. I will play it because I'm just a fan of Kojima because I'm a sucker like that, and I like things that he's made, and it's probably going to have all kinds of fun shenanigans based storyline because if there's one thing Kojima wishes he was, it's a Hollywood movie director.
Absolutely.
So there'll be cool set pieces, there'll probably be cool moments, there'll be a bunch of character development, it'll be obscure and weird, and there'll be collectibles, stuff like that I will enjoy. The game looks very good.
It looks a lot like Metal Gear Solid 5. Like,
it kind of does.
A lot like Metal Gear Solid 5.
But running in the Decima engine, which is impressive. Like, They just converted the Horizon Zero Dawn engine to look like the Fox engine, which makes sense. Why wouldn't he do that?
Yeah.
But I take these boxes over here and turn on this building. It sounds like, okay, any Ubisoft game?
Yes.
Literally any open world Ubisoft game from the last 20 years, where climb this thing and activate a viewpoint and then your map gets a little bigger. This feels like the game.
Okay.
And I don't know that I want to do that.
Understandable.
I kind of wish I knew less about it still. But maybe there's not as much of that, and there's way more of the spooky parts, which look great and fantastic.
Yeah. So let's start with the spooky parts. During this trailer, there is a segment where where Sam is walking through this dilapidated city, and this rain starts falling. And as the rain falls, you start seeing the beached things. These are the invisible
spooky things from the very, very first trailer, where they're like floaty, and you can see footprints sometimes, and you got your little like radar thing that clicks at them when they get close to you and shit.
And during this trailer, the main character, he's like restraining a couple of the invisible people with like a bola gun, it looks like, and it kind of shocks him. But then the rain starts picking up more and more and more, and he eventually gets dragged under by these black, greasy hands from the ground into this other world, which is kind of the closest thing I can kind of resemble it to is a Silent Hill-esque take on it, but Kojima's Silent Hill-esque take on it, where it's the same world but slightly twisted, and in this case, massively flooded with like that blackish water. And this is the part of the game that has me really intrigued, because that shit looks legitimately creepy. I don't mean scary,
that looks
creepy.
Awesome to me. It's I just hope that you get a decent amount of that, and you're not stuck with walk for 4 hours.
And that's the problem that I have with it too, is that what I keep seeing is mainly just the walk for 4 hours. For example, a good chunk of that demo was just him walking, carrying shit around, the various things he can carry shit in. It's like, okay, here is how he has his backpack loaded up. Loading up his backpack is super important, where you put things to make sure the weight's balanced. And then you have to stop and rub your shoulders and then take a piss and then take a random bath. I'm really worried that's what most of the game is going to be, and I don't want that at all. Orlo in chat says the following, and I kind of agree with him a little bit here. He says, I don't understand the hype for Death Stranding except for Kojima. The thing is, I don't care about Kojima, so I don't understand why people are hyped for this. I have the impression that if this wasn't the Kojima game, it would be forgotten. You are 100% right.
That's exactly right. The only reason why this is exciting is because it's Kojima, but the problem is that Kojima tends to have like really cool story set pieces and knows how to build narratives. Although they're ridiculous, occasionally they're really topical, and I don't know.
He absolutely needs an editor. That's the problem, and I don't think that let's be real here. We're judging a game based on what we've seen from a man who's known to fuck with us in the trailers.
That's true, definitely. Remember what we thought Phantom Pain was, and then we get like 2 Metal Gear 5s out of it, and we had no idea that was coming.
However, if there is one thing that I can safely say based on the previous games of his that I have played, is that Kojima desperately needs an editor, and it seems like he does not have one for this. That he needs someone there to kind of hold the leash a little bit to keep him from just fucking going off on tangents, especially when he says shit like not even, like Kojima, like last week even said, not even I know what the game really is about. I'm paraphrasing, but that is more or less what he said.
I just want to fight giant spooky shadow dog things, because that looks rad. The part where he gets like a boss fight, that looks awesome. And I expect this game to have boss fights because of this trailer.
I am hoping what we're seeing here is mainly just Kojima's version of a tech demo.
Yeah, or this is the opening to Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah, where this is just like the first 30 minutes of the game, and we don't even know what's going on.
This is the first hour. This is the first 3 hours of the game, because let's be real, his games have definitely got inflated.
Yeah.
But it could be that, for a little while you're walking and you're getting stands together and you're doing all this other stuff, and then the game turns into something completely different. I can see that happening.
Welcome to chat. I will say this. It is impressive. You're right that Kojima's stuff gets bloated. It is impressive that he has been able to maintain his milestones and get this game out in a mere 3-4 years since it was announced.
Yeah.
Because how long did it take to make Metal Gear 5 come out?
you said this would not be this generation, I think, originally.
I said it would be I believe I said it would be a PlayStation 5 launch title that is cross-generational. In other words, they do that thing where they have like the PlayStation 4 version and the PlayStation 5 version. I'm actually somewhat shocked it's coming out in 2020.
Yeah.
And scant few months from now. So, while on the topic of Kojima and Death Stranding, remember how we're talking about how he tends to get bloated and not even he really knows what the fuck this is about? He recently told GameSpot that he hopes Death Stranding marks the creation of a new genre, which he is calling Strand games. However, for the genre to be explored properly, more Death Stranding projects may be required. So
Fair.
This is a man who is already... let's read between the lines here and understand translation is a problem. This is a man who's saying that not only does he not fully understand what his game is, but he might not even be able to explain it all in one game.
Oh, well. We just have to wait and see. If the moment-to-moment gameplay is fun, then I don't care. Because we can just go back. Metal Gear Solid 5 is the best playing Metal Gear game and had the weakest story. But Metal Gear Solid is a game that exists. And I love it so much.
Yeah.
And I get it. I'm a sucker. I'm an idiot. I am absolutely one of those people that everyone on the internet is currently making fun of because of all this videos. But yeah, I'm still going to play the Kojima game because, fuck it. It's 2019. I got a new Tool album. I'm getting a new Kojima game. It's fine.
To touch on what Salty Frank in chat is saying, Kojima's absolutely has a cult of personality about him.
Yep.
And it's not his fault as much as it is ours and the gaming media's fault, because the language
people get mad at him.
Use,
he gets mad at people when you bring up police knots too, which is funny.
I didn't know that. The language people use to talk about him is shit that's reserved for like Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, exactly.
And I like Kojima, but he is not fucking Stanley Kubrick of video games.
Well, I mean, who is? David Cage? Come on.
No one is. That's just it. We have yet to actually have that. We're just now starting to get like your serious shit with like The Last of Us and your movie-ass stuff with Uncharted. Do you see what I'm saying?
I feel like Kojima's just the Jerry Bruckheimer of video games. He's making a lot of shit that I like that I don't necessarily need to like, but I'm going to anyway because he appeals to me.
Fair enough. So, anyways, let us know what you guys think about all this Death Stranding stuff that came out of the week. Now, I'm still buying it. I'm still looking forward to it. But I will say the last few months has actually actively been anti-hype, to coin a phrase.
Yeah, no, we've talked about this. The more I see about this game, the less I'm excited about it. When I saw the very first trailer, I was like, I'm going to buy it because it says Kojima, and I'm a sucker. And now, I'm still back to if I see more information and that fucking baby in the baby cage cries more than like twice in the entirety of the video game, I will actually trade it into a GameStop.
Salty Frank makes a better comparison. He says he's the Quentin Tarantino of video games. Now, that might be said in jest, but if you think about Quentin Tarantino, he's a director that kind of goes, no, fuck you all. I want to do exactly what I want, and if you don't like it, you can kick rocks.
That kind of tracks, actually.
And Quentin Tarantino, in some cases, also needs a fucking editor. Because his shit runs way too long and goes way off the fucking rails. Once upon a time in Hollywood, I'm looking directly at you. David, as much as I'm pretty sure we could vote an entire hour to Death Stranding discussion on a video game that's not even out yet and that we've probably seen combined a total of 1 hour of, we do have other games to talk about.
We do.
Let's stop talking about a man who made some great games in the 90s and talk about another game from the 90s, and that is Final Fantasy VII Remake.
It's got more gameplay.
Everything that is old is new again.
Hell yeah, dude. That's what I'm saying. Final Fantasy VII's back. I get a Kojima game. I got a Tool album. It's a great time.
The Offspring's on tour.
The Offspring is on tour.
They're playing a video game.
Yeah, and they're playing in World of Tanks, but they lost Greg K, so fuck those guys.
So, did you get a chance to play the Final Fantasy VII demo at PAX?
Absolutely not. Because the way they had that demo set up, I will take you guys back to PAX West of this year and how fucking bullshit Square Enix was. In order to play Final Fantasy VII, you had to go there first thing in the morning so that you could get a ticket that says come back between this time and this time. And it was like a 10-minute interval, and you had to be there exactly on time or you didn't get a play, which means that most of the time when I walked around and saw the Square booth and walked by Final Fantasy VII Remake, every single fucking console there was empty. Every other demo on the show floor has a line of people, and then people are playing it. And then when it opens up, then somebody else starts playing it. No, I would walk past this booth, and there would be no one playing their video game, so that they could say, "Oh, we ran out of time slots. Everyone was lining up to a prior game, except for no one fucking was." It was ridiculously asinine and so stupid.
So what you're saying is you didn't get a chance to play it.
I did not.
Okay.
Everyone just needs to take lessons from fucking PlayStation, because you just download their goddamn app and you can just queue for the games you want, and then you show up and you play it. But you can still stand in line if you want. It was stupid. So but it looks pretty.
For those of you who have not played it,
which is most of us,
the game this time around is real time.
Plays like Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, plays a lot like the most oversimplified statement that I can give behind it is it plays like Final Fantasy 15 while watching Advent Children.
I mean, that's what it looked like from all of the gameplay trailers. It just looks like Final Fantasy 15 to me.
I understand I am being hyper reductive here. Don't send me the emails or anything like that. That's just like, if I had to sum it up in one sentence, that's what it would be. When you make choices through the menu, the game kind of slows to a crawl, and then you can like I don't want to say casually because stuff is still going on, but it's very, very slow, and you kind of pick what you want to do. If you want to do a limit break, you want to use an item, do you want to attack? Apparently, however, at TGS, if even that is still something you don't want to deal with, they are going for a classic mode.
Yep.
Which is cool. I like this. In a series of tweets from TGS, from the Final Fantasy VII account, they said the following. In standard modes, the ATB gauge fills up by repeatedly attacking your enemy, but in classic mode, this aspect of gameplay is handled automatically, much like it was in the original Final Fantasy. You would see that bar slowly fill up. The player does not need to do anything, and the character fights automatically, charging up their ATB gauge. So anyone playing Final Fantasy VII Remake in Classic Mode does not have to worry about the action side combat system, and instead focus on selecting commands, making it possible to play Final Fantasy VII as if it were a classic menu-based RPG.
Sort of. Because the characters aren't just going to stand there and then slap each other when you tell them to.
Correct.
If you know from the text, the character fights automatically. So
you have to move.
You sit there and you watch the character fight for you, and then the meter fills, and then you select an option.
This is great for people who are unable to focus on all the shit going on the screen at once, because I have played it. I played the giant Mako reactor scene when you have the Scorpion boss come down and it's you and Cloud and Barrett.
Mm-hmm.
Just having two people on the screen was a bit much. Now, I'm sure once you get 10 hours in the game, you start getting used to all this going on. But there was a lot of shit going on. Like, a lot of shit going on. Because it's so flashy. Remember, I said it's like watching Advent Children.
And that's the biggest takeaway I had from the gameplay demos at TGS that they showed. The game looks gorgeous.
Yes.
It looks so damn good.
It's super distracting to the point to where it's actually kind of hard to play it.
It's difficult. Dude, it reminds me of, let's talk about the ending of, what was it, Metal Gear Solid 2?
Now?
Yeah. We're going to go back to split screen trying to fight while you're watching a ninja robot fight.
Yeah, you're trying to blow away the Metal Gear waves, but you really want to watch this Vamp Raiden fight that's been building up for like 10 years, but you can't because you're kind of to kill all the raids coming in.
Yep.
It is very, very distracting. And while I am not going to be using this classic mode because I want to play the game as intended, to use like an asinine phrase here, it is cool to go through maybe on a second or third playthrough to kind of do the classic mode so you can kind of sit back and just watch the show a little bit, as it were.
See, I have been kind of hesitant on the whole Final Fantasy VII thing, but this last gameplay reveal, I think, has got me more on board with I still want to play this, even though they're chopping Final Fantasy VII up into probably 5 fucking full-price $60 video games.
They still have not announced how many.
If you remember, this game is only going to cover the Midgar section, which was like 30 minutes of the first disc of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, that's still my biggest concern, is that this game is only going to be like 5 hours.
Which is a 90-hour RPG. But as an aside, it looks good. It looks fun.
I am really concerned that this game comes out in 6 months.
Yep.
We don't have a number of discs yet, or a number of installments yet. We don't have an estimated playtime yet. I'm
I'm
really
gonna go
worried
with
about that
this
shit.
is a Telltale game, and we are going to get 12 of them. Except for instead of being $14 video games, they're gonna be $60 video games.
We'll see how it shakes out. I'm just really concerned that this is going to be real short. But that will be a question for the future.
Future us's problem.
Now, David, why don't you lead off this next story? Because you were somewhat intrigued by this, and I think your hype has quickly diminished as time has gone on this. Over the past couple weeks, we've heard about it.
After all the good they've done, and all the goodwill they've built, for me especially, fuck you, Capcom. We now know what Project Resistance is. Gameplay shown at TGS, extended trailer. This was the Project Resistance with the R and E in red because it is Resident Evil adjacent, but it is not a traditional Resident Evil game. We had all kinds of theories on what it might be. I was hoping for another Outbreak file, even though I'm never going to get one because they don't actually love me. And I think my, second prediction from last week was correct. And it's an asymmetric 4v1 fucking video game based in the Resident Evil universe with 4 survivors going up against a director who has access to cameras and the map and spawns enemies and lays traps and can sometimes fight as one of the big monsters trying to kill the survivors who are trying to escape or do whatever. It's Dead by Daylight. It's Friday the 13th. It's Evolve. It's all of those games, but built in the Resident Evil universe. I will not be playing this game.
Just not at all. You have no interest in this at all.
Nope. This is Metal Gear Survive. I'm not playing it.
Okay. First off, come on now. Let's not jump to that already out the gate.
For me, I am as excited for this as I was for Metal Gear Survive.
Okay.
It is a game based in a universe that I really like, but a style of game that I don't have an interest in playing.
So here's where I think the problem comes from. Is that every time Capcom has tried to do this, it's never really worked out. And the last time they tried to kind of branch out in this thing was a game called Resident Evil Umbrella Corps. And we all remember the goat fuck that was.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently we're not the only ones that remember it. Because if you take a look at this thing's YouTube comments, it's like 2-to-1 dislike to like. People are pretty fucking salty about the reception of this. And despite all of that negative history there, as I hear you clicking away on your typer there.
Yeah,
despite all of that history there, I still kind of want to take a look at this because I like the director character in this. It's not just I'm going to hop into a monster and go. He is actively watching on the map.
This seems like something that you would enjoy because you could play as the one, and you don't really like playing with others.
No,
so you could absolutely show up and just try and kill people. That part could be cool. It's you're the evil DM trying to make sure the party doesn't survive.
Yeah, there's a little bit more than just like a Dead by Daylight thing here. It's kind of like as if you're playing Descent, if you're into board games, or Imperial Assault, or one of those games where you have someone as the DM, like you're mentioning.
Doesn't this go back to the director mode from Left 4 Dead? Didn't they already do that?
I don't know if they're actually. I'm so unfamiliar with the director modes of Left 4 Dead, so I can't speak as a testament to that. But
you spawn bad guys.
Okay, here it's someone who's like sitting behind a bunch of cameras, who has a real-time map of what's going on. He's laying traps and everything like that. I see that and I'm kind of like, okay, I can get behind that. I ain't paying full price for it because I can guarantee you this game will hold my attention for approximately as long as it takes for me to see every map once, and then I'm gonna be out.
And that's the thing is the asymmetrical games have been cool. I've liked a bunch. I've played a bunch of them. I played Evolve. I thought that game was rad. I played Dead by Daylight. I played Depth. I've played Friday the 13th. I've played a lot of these games, and they are games that are fun, but to me, not infinitely replayable.
Right. The one thing I ask for people, though, is to just kind of chill the fuck out on this, because this isn't Resident Evil 8. It's not Remake 3 or whatever they're doing there. This is not taking any extra resources away from making those games. You can tell that this has been made for a while. It's already in a state where they can show some gameplay on it. It looks like to be gameplay, I should say, which means that they have been working on it side by side with Resident Evil 2.
I mean, they've been working on Operation Raccoon City for a while, too.
Capcom is a big enough studio that they can have multiple people going on at once, and they're not saying this is Resident Evil, the sequel to 8-7 or whatever their new remake or anything is like that, or God forbid they do a Dino Crisis remake. They can still give you that stuff. It's not like Capcom is burning any goodwill. They just said, hey, here is something that we have been working on.
Fair. And
people seem unbelievably upset about this for reasons I can't quite wrap my head around. It's like
the internet gets mad at everything, man. That's how we do it.
Yeah, it's like when people got pissed off at Labo.
I mean, that made sense. People get mad at that for no reason. That just was for kids. It was literally made for kids.
And this is for people who like asymmetric games. It's not taking away anything from another Resident Evil game coming out. And
That's true.
People are just pissed.
But it is in an established franchise that ideally would be cashing in on the hype from people that like that franchise. And the people that like that franchise, it seems, just based on reactions online, don't happen to line up with the fans of the asymmetrical genre.
Cool. It just seems like the backlash is, fuck Capcom, they've gone back to the old ways, they were the golden child, now they're doing this shit again. It's like, guys, it's not like you're not going to get another Resident Evil. It's not like they're going to go make Resident Evil 5 again or anything, or 6 again or anything like that. Just take a breath. That's all I ask. Take a breath. I don't think this game is going to be good either. I don't think it's going to sell all that well. But just take a breath.
Probably not.
We don't need to burn Capcom down. They've done good recently. Just chill the fuck out. Play some Iceborne. All right, David. We have some unfortunate news to talk about. It's serious, but not as serious as someone dying, which is why I wanted at the very beginning take that aside to talk about that. But we have yet another set of layoffs across 2 different companies this time. I'm going to do these 2 stories kind of back to back. We'll focus on the first one, not so much, but the second one we'll get a little bit deeper into. First up, via Variety, Warner Media's Rooster Teeth cuts 13% of its staff, laying off about 50. It's gaming adjacent. Rooster Teeth does a lot of like Mashima.
They do a lot of like nerdy things.
Yeah.
On the internet,
and they have some gaming related stuff. And I actually knew a couple of people working for Rooster Teeth as well. Rooster Teeth, for the first time in its 16-year history, has made a broad cutback in its workforce, laying off 13% of its employees, or about 50 staffers. The layoffs at Rooster Teeth, the sci-fi gaming and fandom division of Warner Media's Otter Media, was confirmed Thursday by Rooster Teeth co-founder CEO Matt Hullum. In early 2019, Warner Media shuttered the Mashima brand, which had been previously part of Warner Brothers, after Rooster Teeth picked up several Mashima. After which, Rooster Teeth picked up several Mashima original shows.
Is that not Machinima? Because that's how I've been saying it this whole time.
I have no idea. But the point I'm with this last paragraph here that I'm trying to make is that this is yet another in a series of gaming site shutdowns specifically from Warner Media, who is paring back all their stuff.
Yep.
And this is one of those things where we're seeing more and more media companies, especially in the gaming scene, get closed because why pay a staff of 200 people at some of these places when you can have one PewDiePie give the same message across? Yeah,
basically. Just give money to an influencer because it works better.
We are in the age of the influencer. And that is why you're seeing more and more of the bigger names leave whatever companies they're attached to, start their own very small and lean companies, go to Patreon or Ko-fi or Coffee or whatever the hell that site is, or go to like a subscription model.
We are running away towards all entertainment being specialized.
Yes.
Yep.
That is what's happening. So
I did like Red versus Blue though, so still kind of bummed.
And it's not like Rooster Teeth's going away.
Yep.
They just had some layoffs, and they're not the only people to have upcoming layoffs. This one's
less surprising.
Yes. Via GameIndustry.biz. GameStop to close 180 to 200 underperforming stores globally this year. That means these stores are getting closed
in the next 3 months.
Yeah. In what is supposed to be their busiest time. From the article. During Tuesday's GameStop Q2 earnings call, the company announced it would be closing between 180 and 200 underperforming stores globally between now and the end of the year. GameStop CFO James Bell said the following: "While that is an impressive statistic, we have a clear opportunity to improve our overall profitability by de-densifying our chain. As an aside, the de-densifying our chain does actually have to happen. I'm shocked it hasn't happened yet, because in the area we're at alone, I can literally name 7 GameStops within a mile radius of each other."
Yeah, they're a little bit everywhere. Because GameStop does not need to be Starbucks.
What happened is that they bought
They bought every other
and
game store.
EA and or EA, EB.
All the electronics boutiques, every other game store slowly became a GameStop
and
for a period.
closed none of them down. So
Yep.
it's oversaturated. Going back to James Bell. That work is well underway. We're on track to close 180 to 200 underperforming stores globally by the end of this fiscal year. Okay, fiscal year. That means April of next year. And while these closures were more opportunistic, we're applying a more definitive analytic approach, including profit levels and sales transferability, that we expect will yield a much larger tranche of closures over the coming 12 to 24 months. So 200 stores is just the start. He is telling you right now, over the next year to 2 years, significantly more stores are going to be closed.
Though we do need to put it in perspective that they have like 6,000 stores, 5,700.
Yes.
So it's not like they're just all the GameStops are gone and they're closed. 200 is significant, and that's a shit ton of people losing jobs. But they're trying to get lean.
I get
basically.
the feeling that they're going to close probably 1,000 stores over the next 2 years.
They're doing everything they can to right the ship.
Yes.
And I don't envy the CEO because, or the CFO or any of those guys, because that sucks. I mean, GameStop is having issues and they're not profitable and they have to do something because no one wants to buy them. And the only thing they can do is sell any fat. They have to.
It certainly didn't help that I believe a report came out today saying that August of 2019 is the slowest video game sales month since like 2002 or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the actual Games Informer or a game industry article. This all comes part of the GameStop's reboot plan, which is a major focus of its Q2 earnings report. Despite all these changes, GameStop will likely not see profit increases for some time to come, with Bell blaming this on the timing of the end of the current console generation, which is something that we've talked about a long time too. I don't know if they can actually survive to the next generation.
GameStop makes money on hardware. They need to survive until we have new hardware.
And that is just reinforced by this next stop story right here, David. Now, what is it that we say GameStop looks like every time we go in there?
Radio Shack.
Radio Shack, Hot Topic. It's not really a game store. It's a gaming pop culture store now.
Here's an entire wall of pop figures. Here's a wall of iPhones and iPads that are apparently refurbished. Here's some used video games that we buy for pennies on the dollar. This little section over there is where you can buy new video games, and the entire middle of the store is knickknacks, hatteracks,
Give a dog a
bones.
So, part of this redesign reboot that's going on is that a lot of the stores are kind of changing what their focus is. And we actually have seen possibly what the future of GameStop is due to a video from Pryor, Oklahoma. And a GameStop employee showed a video of what looks to be the new layout of the store. This is via IGN and from that employee's Facebook, by the way. So here we go. A source familiar with GameStop's operation, who requested anonymity, has confirmed that the store matches the blueprint layout of the redesign shown in the GameStop's annual conference in the video that we saw on Facebook. Now, what is this video? Well, have you seen the video, first of all, David?
I skimmed it. I don't know. It looks kitschy and stupid.
Okay. I recommend everyone take a look at it. The link will be provided down below, as long as it's up. I'm actually kind of surprised it hasn't been pulled yet. From what I understand, they weren't supposed to show this. But
Cat's out of the bag. It's on the internet everywhere.
The video shows a GameStop store with a significantly dialed back look. It's no longer as flashy. It looks far more muted. There's a bunch of CRTVs in the back, so think like a friendly local game store, like a board game store, where they have all the tables and shit in the back for people to play. Mm-hmm. Half the store looks like that. And they had like 6 CRTVs set up, like the old box TVs with N64s, GameCubes, original Xboxes, a Super Nintendo, all hooked up into it so people can just come in and play things. There's a couch in the fucking middle of the store. There's empty tables in the back where it looks like people can just go set up board games.
Dude, I'm down if they start running video game tournaments. Because that's why I went to Game Crazies back in the day, just so I could play in like local video game tournaments.
You have a small section of video games and some random collectibles, and there's also a tablet that links you to GameStop.com, so you can just, if you actually want a game, you can buy it directly from there. As a side note, as someone who worked games retail for like 8 years, this is my version of fucking hell.
Because you sell every damn thing.
Because
you got places for people to just sit and do nothing. You got places for parents to leave their kids all day.
There you go. You're starting to get on the trolley now.
Yep.
I have nothing to sell.
And no one to buy.
No one to buy. I am a glorified babysitter. That would be my thought back when I was doing games retail.
Now, hobby shops have a similar problem. In that a lot of hobby shops obviously will just have tables, and you'll have people that are sitting there playing Pokemon or Magic or D&D or whatever, but they're not spending money. They're buying chips and a soda, and maybe they'll buy a new figure every once in a while.
And
but
if
a lot of people are just sitting there playing games with their friends.
And if that is what
cool,
I would have gone into for the begin with, that would be one thing. But if I'm like a long-term GameStop employee, the last thing I want is a bunch of screaming fucking children in my store.
Fair.
However, if I were to say work at a board game store or a comic book store or whatever like that, I would know what I was getting into to begin with. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Fair.
And this is just me talking.
It is built a little differently.
Yeah, this is just me talking. So you if you're a GameStop employee, you might see that and go, hell yes.
Hobby stores and comic stores are more about building relationships with customers. I'm sure some people are super dedicated to their specific GameStop, but they're on every goddamn corner. It's like people just go to the one that's convenient, or they go to whatever one they happen to be driving by at that point in time.
Right. That's just my personal opinion on it. But they're clearly trying to capture on that comic store, game store, like board game store vibe of, hey, come in here, hang out.
Come hang out. Maybe you'll spend money.
Do you like this game?
Please
go to the iPad and order it online. It'll be delivered to you in an hour or a day.
2 minutes to your email.
Yeah, whatever it takes on there. A second source, go back to the article now. A second source familiar with the GameStop's future reboot plan said that all stores will look like this in the video. Some redesigns will focus on esports, retro games, which is the store that we saw here, or a more traditional design similar to existing stores. Other features like the wall-mounted tablet or more universal features that corporate will implement across all stores, aka congratulations employees, you're learning your customers to use the robots that will eventually replace your job.
True that. Although I do like the idea that they have it broken down into like, here's a traditional store, here's a classic game store, here's an esports store, because that will help with some of the saturation if you have GameStops that are specifically different near each other.
Yeah,
like
you can.
Oh, the one that's a mile away from me has a lot of retro stuff and has a bunch of CRTs, and people go there to play fighting games a lot. But the one that's 10 miles away from me has like esports tournaments, and they play Call of Duty and League of Legends.
And instead of closing 4 of the 7 stores in the area, you might only close like 2.
Yeah, who knows?
So that's definitely cool. Anyways, seems to be what the future of GameStop is, a more specialized boutique stores of each one of them. And honestly, I kind of hope one of those retro ones come to our location. I'm curious to see what they would have. That would get me to go back into a GameStop.
If they got fighting game tournaments, I'll show up.
Yeah, that would get me to go back into a GameStop again.
Yeah, because right now I have no reason to. Because anything they carry, I could buy from somewhere else, and they'll actually have it in stock.
David, we've got 3 more stories. I'm going to kind of lightning round these real quick because we are approaching the end of the show.
I love lightning rounds. Let's go.
First, EA is getting into cloud gaming.
Of course they are. They smelled money in the air, and they have to do it.
They are going to be hosting an exclusive external trial for players to experience games streamed through EA's cloud technology. While this particular trial will be focused on cloud gaming on PC devices, we're also working to understand performance across multiple other devices. See phones and tablets here. Yeah. As part of the external trial, players will get hands-on with 4 HD games, including FIFA 19, Titanfall 2, Need for Speed Rivals, and Unravel, a good mix of what they have in the Origin catalog. Finally, the bottom line, they say, is this. Cloud gaming is coming. It is no longer a question of if, but when. And that sounds like a fucking threat to me.
Dude, EA is all about you never owning a fucking video game ever again. This is their goddamn dream. Yeah. You pay us an amount of money that we decide that we can change so that you can access our games, that you can spend additional money on for shit you still don't own because you don't own any of these games in the first place because you're paying to access our servers that run these video games.
All of which will be loot boxed all to hell and none of which you own. And as such gets around the gambling problem because they're going to say, well, you have to pay to get into the service and you have to be 18 to get into the cloud gaming. So how can kids be affected without parental notification?
It is just the worst.
I hate this.
It's going to suck.
I hate
Luckily, most
the idea of cloud gaming. And
most of everywhere has not good enough internet for fucking online video gaming.
Right.
As
Right
we talked
now.
about, when I was in the Google Stream or Project Stadia, whatever the hell you want to call it, beta back in the day, and I played a shit ton of Assassin's Creed, I went over my data cap for my internet hard, really, really badly, just trying to play that game, which was exciting to me because it did look better than the game could actually run on my computer at the time. But I can't just afford infinite internet, and no one gives me infinite internet. I'm not in the Netherlands. I don't have fiber optic coming to my house for free for everybody.
Yes, I do not think the future of cloud gaming is here yet. I still think it's a couple years off because we need to improve the internet infrastructure. However, that final line of the EA press statement is absolutely true. Cloud gaming is coming. It is not a question of if, but when. And it is going to be that 100% for everything. Because that is the holy grail. You own nothing. You pay for the privilege.
Yep.
And
yep.
They will pay AT&T and Google and Verizon to lay more fucking cable to make this happen. Watch.
They're also gonna
goddamn it.
They're also gonna make all kinds of partnerships so they can profit off of it, because why wouldn't they?
Yeah, I do not like the idea of cloud gaming. I don't like this lack of ownership in the digital future, but it is, unfortunately, the future.
Hey man, we got to get into some kind of cyberstopia, and this is just how we're starting.
Oh, we've been there 10 years ago, but I don't want to go off on the whole rabbit hole about just all the weird shit that I know that they have.
Anyway, let's talk about other stuff, because the last I checked, we were lightning rounding. The Game Awards, Jeff Keighley's baby, his actual living, breathing baby, has been announced for December 12th, 2019. Slightly later than normal, probably, so they have enough time to play video games that are releasing on the 8th of December.
Maybe. I like the Game Awards. I don't think they're quite where they need to be yet, but I always like them. I think they get a little bit better each year. I am really, really, really hoping Keighley finally proposes to Kojima this year.
Oh, man, that'll be great.
Just looking forward to that. Also,
he'll say no, though. He's in love with Norman and Mads.
Last topic I want to bring up. 10-year-old boy wins animal fighting ring after trying for 22 years.
Oh, this is an esports news. Thank you very much.
This is via Comic Book Reader. That headline is the headline I prefer. The actual headline talks about how Ash Ketchum, after 22 years, the 10-year-old boy has finally won a Pokemon tournament.
Kid sucks at thing. News at 11. I mean, what are we doing here? Why is this... Why is anybody talking about this?
Because I love the idea that a 10-year-old boy took 22 years to win something. Just something about that disconnected my head I really absolutely love. But in the 139th episode of Pokemon Sun and Moon anime, Ash, for the first time ever, finally won a Pokemon League championship. The reason why I mention it is because everyone was fucking talking about it. I'm telling you guys right now, if you're watching this, be it live here at Twitch TV /GamePoints or on the YouTube channel at youtube.com/GamePointsPC, this specific story is here to chase the algorithm.
Oh my God.
That's why we're talking about it.
Jesus Christ. I didn't know we were those kind of people.
So I can tag Pokemon, Ash Ketchum, and like I don't know what's popular right now.
10-year-old kids. What?
Yeah, 10-year-old boys.
What the fuck are we even doing?
But David,
yeah,
if you were to start, if I were to start training to become a Pokemon master right now, I would be fucking 60 something, because I can't do the math in my head, before I actually won it if I follow the Ash Ketchum program.
That's true. Or you can just play any Pokemon
game
and do it in like a few hours.
That's 22 years off my life that I need to fill with something.
That's
so
true.
If I were to start today, what could I play to keep from actually achieving that goal and make it 30 years?
Oh man, we want to push aside your dreams and hopes for video games? Well, I can help you with that with some new releases. And by new releases, I mean old-ass games getting remastered and being released on Switch and PS4, and that's Castle Crashers. And I'm just going to say this outright. Castle Crashers is fucking awesome. I flippin' love that game. I am just straight up buying it on Switch. Supposedly it runs at 60 FPS. This is one of my favorite local co-op games, I think, of all time. I mean, going back to like Turtles in Time status, this game is just fun to play with friends. If you're playing it by yourself, have fun, I guess. You can enjoy games too. but I have always thought that this is a good, just local co-op game. I think it also has co-op online, but for me, this is just fun to get a bunch of friends, get some pizza, get some beverages, and have fun. Stylish. It's got shenanigans. You can get what's that? Alien Hominid? Anybody? Newgrounds? Anybody?
I like
you can get that guy in here.
That was essentially Metal Slug with Flash animation.
Yeah. Anyway, it's coming out. I'm excited. AI, the Somnium Files, comes out for PS4, Switch, and PC. This is a anime murder mystery visual novel game. In a near future Tokyo, you play as a detective who's on the case of a serial killer. So think, what's that serial killer David Cage game? Heavy Rain? Trying to find the spooky guy that's killing people, finding clues, but it's very visual novel-y. It's also made by the person who made the Zero Escape series, the director, and character design from the person who makes No More Heroes and Fire Emblem.
Yeah, the Zero. If you like visual novels, the Zero Escape games are up there with some of the greatest ones of all time. I love the Nonary games; those are good.
And now you can get a murder mystery version. Rebel Cops hits PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. This is an isometric strategy single-player game. It's a spin-off from This Is the Police, if you remember that series. It's based in the same universe, and it's focusing on the turn-based tactical operations of the people. So you're leading a squad of cops against the new town's criminal power to see how long you can hold out while you're always short on supplies. Cops can actually die. You're just trying to live through shenanigans. Devil's Hunt hits PC. This is a war between demons and angels that's based on a book by Pawel Lesniak called Equilibrium. It's a third-person action game. It's the fight between good and evil. You team up with angels. You fight demons. Remember God Hand? It looks like God Hand.
Yeah, I played this for roughly 5 minutes earlier in the year, like back in March. It was fine for what I got for a 5-minute impression. I was like, okay, this looks cool. I want to take a look at more, and I never took a look at more. Third-person action game.
It's probably fun. Lego Jurassic World hits Switch. If you, I'll just say it this way: all Lego games are good if you like Lego games. I don't think there's been a statistically bad Lego game. I don't think there's been a statistically amazing Lego game. But this is the one that's based on Jurassic Park. So if you like Lego and Jurassic Park, you should play this one. Just like if you like any other thing, you should play that Lego game because it does have a Lego game. Groundhog Day, Like Father Like Son, hits PSVR and Steam VR. This shit's weird. This is a sequel to the 1980s movie The Groundhog Day starring Bill Murray, where you play as Phil Connors Jr., the son of Phil and Rita, spoiler alert, from Groundhog's Day, who is once again in Puxatawny, which is where, the groundhog comes out of the ground and sees a shadow and then makes more winter because reasons. In a virtual reality game set in the world of the movie, you solve puzzles, you interact with stuff, but it's set in current time, so there's like social media to it. So like you can record shit on your phone and you're stuck in a time loop solving mysteries. Probably not as much bank robbing, but who knows?
Couple things. One, Groundhog Day, not an 80s movie.
Is it come out in the 90s?
Came out in 93.
Oh, shit. Well, what do I know?
2, did you know that apparently, like the main character of Groundhog's Day, how long do you think he was stuck in that time loop for?
Years and years and years. It's something like 40 years.
10,000 years.
10,000 years. Who the hell did the math on this shit?
The director actually came out and said that originally it was supposed to be this, and it's still mechanically in my head but I just never showed it all. But apparently he was supposed to be stuck for 10,000 fucking years in that time loop.
That's insane. I actually can't believe that because he would be legitimately mad.
That's why he just starts killing himself over and over and over again. Like, those scenes were supposed to be like on like year 1000 or some shit. He just starts offing himself over. Like, that movie was originally supposed to be way darker than it was.
All right. I mean, I guess we can go with 10,000. That actually makes... I don't know. I don't like that as much. Like, 100 years, even a couple hundred years to me, works for the movie and still explains everything. But 10,000 years is insane.
Yeah. I believe that is technically longer than recorded history by like 3,000 years.
That's utterly horrifying. Anyway, if you need a video game that you can play for 10,000 fucking years, you can get Groundhog Day, Like Father, Like Son for PSVR and Steam VR this week.
Now, if they had any sense of humor in there, they would fuck with your PC and PlayStation clock.
That'd be hilarious.
You start it up, and it's just the same day over and over again.
Also coming out this week, Real Fishing Road Trip Adventure. Dude, you know Real Fishing? It's that fishing series.
Yeah.
It's on PS4 and it's on Switch and it's on PC and it comes out every year. Except for this is not that. This is Road Trip Adventure. This is a fishing game, but it's an RPG. So, it's just a generic fishing game, right? No, fuck you. It's got like anime-style conversation systems and an inventory, and you eat food to buff your stats so that you can catch better fish. I don't know what the fuck is happening, but if you're really into fishing and Persona,
I guess.
Check out Real Fishing Road Trip Adventure. I don't know if that's an accurate comparison, but that's what it looks like to me. Who knows?
Why not?
Police Stories is also coming out this week. This is a game that's not Rebel Cops. PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, and Mac. Look, Mac getting video games.
It's like that time when we had both Armageddon and Deep Impact kind of come out at the same time, or Volcano and
Dante's Peak.
Dante's Peak, yeah.
Yeah, movies come out in pairs. That happens. This because no one's original. Illusionist and Prestige. Fresh take on top-down shooters with an emphasis on tactics that you have to make split-second decisions. This is like Breachers, the game, but top-down. If you remember, like Breach and Clear, I think is the game where you play as cops and you're trying to neutralize the bad guys. So you kick in doors, you shoot the bad guys, you try not to get cops killed. You rescue civilians, you defuse bombs, all this other fun stuff. It's got online co-op, and shooting first is not an option. You kick in the door first and have to react to things. So it is kind of fast-paced and also tactical. It looks interesting. Devil May Cry 2 comes out on Switch this week. The weakest...
I was about to say the worst.
Devil May Cry game is now on Switch. Did they already bring the first one out? Did they already bring the third one out? If they brought either of those ones...
I'd be shocked if they didn't bring the first one out, but they brought the second one out.
Yeah, if the first one or the third one are on Switch, play one of those instead.
In fact, you could just skip 2 with nothing lost.
Truck driver for PS4 and Xbox One. It's like Euro Truck.
Dad noises over there, man.
But it's not based in Europe. It's just a truck driver game. Drive trucks to make money, to get more trucks, to make more money, to get more trucks, to get some bananas. Because eventually you can get a truck that drives bananas.
Get paid.
Oh yeah, and get paid. Mutazone. It's like Mutazone, but okay. So it's not that 2 is bad. Addressing chat. Devil May Cry 2 is not a bad game. It is just, in comparison to all of the other Devil May Cry games, in my opinion, it is the worst.
3 is still the pinnacle of that franchise.
Yeah, 3 is fantastic. The new one is also good. Yeah.
It goes, okay, quick impromptu ranking. Devil May Cry's. 3, 5, 1. DMC, the reboot, 4, 2.
Yeah, because DMC is technically its own standalone thing that's not directly related to the main series games.
Yeah, I like DMC better than I did 2 or 4.
Fair. Anyway, Mutazone, I think is how you say that, is a PS4, PC game that's an indie adventure. It's interesting. It's like a soap opera-ish, small-town gossip game, but with supernatural elements. It's got like mutants and all kinds of weird stuff. Like you're playing as a character who shows up to care for their grandfather. There's magical gardens and all kinds of weird shit going on. It's an adventure game. So, you mostly walk, you talk, you solve puzzles, you find things, and you keep going. Untitled Goose Game, a game with a fantastic title.
That's a good name.
It's coming out for Switch, PC, and Mac. This game, I think, is going to be rad. I've seen it a few times. I've actually played it a couple times as well because they normally have this game at PAX. It is a lovely morning in a beautiful village, and you are a horrible goose. This is a game where you play as a goose, and your entire job is to
You say horrible. I say amazing.
You're playing as a goose, and you're doing your goosiest goosing. You play the best damn goose you could possibly be, and the best damn goose you can be is a total asshole.
You're still in everybody picnics, you can find. You're fucking running people over. You're bumping them in the ass. You know that picture with the scene where the people are shooting the porn, but in the background there's the goose and it says soon? That's actually you in the game.
Yeah, dude, this game looks hilarious, and from what I've seen, it's actually pretty fun too. So take a look. Rebound Dodgeball Evolved comes out for Xbox One and PC. This is a local multiplayer twin-stick sci-fi dodgeball game. It is really fast-paced. This is built to be much more of a competitive game. In my opinion, it's 2 to 4 players, free-for-all deathmatch. You actually throw the dodgeball with the stick. You move your character with the other stick. You're trying to knock people out. Of the dodgeball games we've covered in the last few weeks, I like the other one better, but I forgot the name of it. I'm a horrible host. So my bad.
Yeah, you're right. There was one last week. Holy fuck.
There was literally a dodgeball game last week that was top-down, 2D, looked a lot like... Fuck, now I can't even think
Windjammers.
Windjammers, but with dodgeball. And I think that game looked more fun than this. But if you want competitive video game dodgeball that's weirdly sci-fi looking, then Rebound Dodgeball Evolved. Also, the Sojourn comes out for PS4 and Xbox One and PC. This is a puzzle game.
I get strong Talos Principle vibes from this game. In fact, if I wasn't knee-deep in so many things right now, I would be all over this because I loved Talos Principle.
Yep, you are much more of an adventure guy than I am. I'm not really down with like the walking and solving puzzles style of video game. I know they're fun. I know a lot of people love them. I don't know. I work at work and I don't need to work at home, so I don't really play a lot of puzzle games. Niflheim comes out for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. This is a survival adventure action RPG.
It's way too many fucking genres picked together.
It's a shit ton of genres. It's
what
been
game
out on
does
Steam.
it resemble? Can you pick a game that it resembles? Because that's just the easiest way to convey shit at this point. And don't say Dark Souls.
I won't, because it's nothing like Dark Souls. It is a side-scrolling resource management kingdom development game where instead of developing a kingdom, you're trying to find your way to Valhalla. You're
that
like trying to level
explains
up.
it better than all those genres together. Okay.
Yeah, you play as a dude who's, I think, dead, but you're not in Valhalla, so you've got to kind of side scroll and survive and get points and level up so that you can be a Valhalla.
So they're kind of biting Valkyrie profile here a little bit.
Sure. Ni no Kuni: Wrath of the White Witch for PS4,
right.
Switch, and PC.
This
is absolutely a remaster of Ni no Kuni.
That's what my question was.
Yep. Wrath of the White Witch is a game that already exists, and this is that, but with improved graphics and performance.
Man, I want to like Ni no Kuni more than I do.
You don't have to, because luckily there's almost infinite video games, and apparently most of them play exactly like Dark Souls, according to all of the idiots on the internet. Speaking of Dark Souls, let's talk about the Dark Souls of Zelda games. The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening comes out for Switch this week.
Hate you.
I know. It's a remake of the 1993 Game Boy game, which was a pretty damn good game that came out on a system that I would say nobody owns it, but I'm pretty sure Game Boy is still one of the best-selling fucking things of all time. So a lot of people probably played this game.
This game was amazing when it came out. I remember when it came out because I'm old as fuck.
Yeah, sounds like you.
And I am going to play the hell out of this. I am really looking forward to this. This is actually a sad Zelda game.
I will absolutely be playing this game as well because I kind of just like the handheld Zelda games more than I like any of the big console releases in the last however many years. I loved the sequel to Link to the Past that came out. That game was rad.
Link Between Worlds.
Link Between Worlds. I thought that game was tons of fun. And this has a not similar, because this has that 3D but still kind of cutesy animation style to it. But it's built with that same like top-down style of the original game, but with 3D models. I think this game looks awesome. I still love the music because, of course, I do. This has a lot of stuff from the first game and a bunch of stuff from the Link's Awakening DX remaster from 1998. And diorama-like worlds, tilt-shift visuals. This game looks really good, and it's probably going to be a shit ton of fun. And it's a remaster of, if you've never played it, one of the best damn Zelda games.
I have never been as big of a fan of the 3D Zeldas as I was for 2D Zeldas as well. I am the asshole who's willing to admit that I hated Wind Waker when it first came out, but after playing it again, I actually like that game a little bit more. But I don't like Twilight Princess. I don't like Skyward Sword. I fucking loathe Breath of the Wild. I keep trying to play that game again, and I just can't get past the breakable weapons on that.
We are, okay, full disclosure to anyone who's new to our show, we are absolutely those fucking assholes on the internet who both agree that if Breath of the Wild was called literally anything else but Zelda, it would not have done as well.
No.
Because it is a game that's interesting, and it's a game that revolutionized Zelda by being every other open world game. And I
Life.
get that there's cool systems and there's a bunch of physics shit you can do, but that's not why I'm playing a Zelda game.
My favorite Zelda game of all time is Link to the Past.
Same. That's why I loved Link Between Worlds.
Link's Awakening was originally designed to be a port of Link to the Past on Game Boy.
Yeah.
And they went, you know what? Let's just take what we have and make something brand new. And they did, and it's amazing. And I'm looking forward to getting back into this one. Orlo in chat is saying that they think Game Boy is the second most sold console ever, with the first being PlayStation 2. And that sounds correct.
That does sound right.
Now,
yeah, we know there's a sequel to Breath of the Wild. We're probably not going to play it.
If we're wrong, let us know down below in the comments, but that does sound correct. David?
And also, we're aware of disliking a popular thing does not make you cool or interesting, but I'm still a Kojima whore, so I do like popular things.
And don't get me wrong. I am not saying that you should feel bad for liking Breath of the Wild. If
Hell
Breath
no.
of the Wild is your favorite
I'm
game,
not saying it's a bad game.
For it.
I'm just saying it's not the best Zelda game ever made.
No, it's definitely not for me. David, that does it for new releases, which in turn means that does it for the show. This has been GamePoints episode 191. Thank you all for showing up, whether it be live every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here at Twitch TV/GamePoints or later at youtube.com/GamePointsPC. Regardless of where you're watching, and if we got something wrong or you feel like chiming in on any of the topics, feel free to comment down below where links will be provided as well. If you do like what you see here and you haven't yet, you want to support the show in any way, feel free to like, follow, subscribe, throw bits at. If you're sitting on Amazon or Twitch Prime account and you haven't used that free subscription here at Twitch yet, I'd appreciate it here. Also, keep in mind it is September, so subscriptions on Twitch are half off. But don't feel like you have to do any of that. It's just truly appreciated. I'm just glad to have you all here. If you want to follow the show on Twitter, you can do so at GamePointsPC. You can follow myself, Stephen Brown, at CapitalistPig21, and you can follow David there at PalShop_Satori. Thank you all for showing up. This has been GamePoints, and until next time, we're out of here.